that's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this Degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to this special episode of the Degen Roundtable Sunday Show, episode number 88, Could the War End Crypto's Bull Market? Also, today happens to be Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there in the audience. Happy Father's Day to my brother Sam, happy Father's Day to my father Will Sr., and happy Father's Day to all of the special fathers, Brendan's father, audience members' fathers, everyone, and other such things. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a couple of macroeconomic events. We're going to bring up the Ethereum Strategic Reserve and some cool things that are happening with that in respect to the Sharp link that we talked about a few weeks ago, and other such things. But for those of you who have not seen me before, by the way, hello, my name is Will Stevenson. I'm a traveling iron worker. I go around the country building TV towers and radio towers and things like that. We're actually building one right outside of my Connex about 500 yards away. So super cool and awesome. In my free time, though, when I'm not climbing towers, I like to talk to assholes such as yourselves about cryptocurrency and self-improvement. Joining me tonight is my good friend, Brendan, the Anonymous Bean. Brendan is the Degen Roundtable's macroeconomics specialist, and he knows a lot about what goes on up at the Fed and up at the governmental level and things going on like at the large picture in the world of finance and stuff. So, Mr. Brendan Broski, how's it going, dude? What's new and exciting with you?
Hey, brother, things are good. Happy Father's Day to your dad and to all the dads out there, to my dad and my brothers and brother-in-laws, all those who have had children, and thank you for being fathers. Also, yeah, man, I watched the United States soccer game tonight. They have like a little tournament going on. It's called the Gold Cup. It's not like a super important tournament, but so like a lot of their young players are playing. So I got my USA soccer jersey on right now. They won 5-0, so that's nice. And then before that, I was watching the Red Sox Yankees, and the Red Sox beat the Yankees, and they swept the Yankees, which was great. And then they turn around after the game and trade their best player for like almost nothing. So I'm over here like totally, my mind's just all over the place. And yeah, it's just been a wild day, but yeah, it's been a good weekend. I went to Isla Mirada, which is one of the keys in the middle of the Florida Keys with Brenda yesterday and our doggo. That was fun. I got to spend some time in the water at the local brewery, listen to some music, and yeah, it's been a nice weekend. So, what have you been up to, brother? You're doing a little bit of work this week?
Yeah, I don't know if we can see the tower from my Connex. Oh, you actually can. Oh, I might show you guys the tower when the sun goes down a little bit more, because it'll just be a bright, blinding sky. But I've literally been just working 12 and 14-hour days, slaving away up in the sky. We've been stacking sections and stuff. So the tower started out at 180 foot when I got there on Tuesday, and we have since put a crane on the tower. We have run a whole bunch of really heavy cables all up and through the tower. So I've just been working like a madman, and like I think we did pretty close to 72 hours this week. So it's just been a freaking nuts day. Like we were even out there this morning. I think we did like 5 or 6 hours of just assembling steel and stuff. So I've just been working, man. Literally just slaving away. It's so nice too, because like I haven't stacked a tower in 2 years. So it's like I've been away from the construction side, like the serious construction side of this line of work for so long, and it's nice to get back up in the swing of things, and picking up 8,000 pounds of metal and then fucking putting it in place, bolting it down, like jumping your crane up 30 feet and then doing it again. It's super cool, man. So
how long does it take to build a tower like that?
So to build the skeleton, it takes probably about 4 weeks of just doing nothing but stacking sections and pulling out guy wires, right? The whole purpose of a tower is to hold an antenna really high up in the air, right? So after we build the skeleton, then we start putting in all of the power lines that brings the electricity up to the top of the tower, and then we put the antenna on like at the very last thing, and then we start running the lighting system and other such things. So it probably, like, from start to finish, zero to nothing. Materials start showing up on site. People start building the tower pieces because you build it in little chunks. I'd say it probably takes about 6 to 9 months with like a really good solid crew. Um, but like actually stacking the structure itself takes maybe a month and a half. So.
Got it. So you'll be there for a few. You'll be there working for a few months then.
Yeah. So if anyone's in Dallas, I'm here for the near future. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of time to come see you guys because fucking 12-hour days, man. We start at 6 in the morning and we get off at 6 in the evening. So it's like by that point, we've been burning calories all day and doing crazy shit. So I just barely got enough time to run over here to the Connex and fire up the streams on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. But
That's
yeah,
good, man. I mean, you said you hadn't been building the towers recently, so get some money, get some savings, maybe get some DCA money.
Oh,
Doesn't
fuck
sound
yeah,
terrible
man.
to me. I mean, hard
Yeah,
work, but
yeah, I haven't been like DCAing for the past like I haven't been increasing my bag size. I've been
yeah,
doing like a little trading here and there, but I haven't been like increasing my core bag size for at least the last 9 months. I've just been living off of savings and other little yield bearing assets that I've been fiddling around with and stuff. But now that I'm like making thousands and thousands of dollars a week again, it's like, oh shit, I can start throwing massive amounts of money into cryptocurrency, and we're still at the lows of the rich and hard ecosystem, so I can increase my bags, and that'll be kind of nice to see. So living
yeah,
living
man.
frugally, uh and just freaking just about to go back into the DCA powerhouse mode, so it'll be freaking sweet and freaking awesome. So
Well,
I'm super.
the Richard Hart ecosystem still looks like a prime purchase. Haven't had
Yep.
too much of green candles there. I haven't also been DCAing as much. Kind of been a little bit less. After the wedding, paying off the wedding, and all of these other real world things that I got to spend money on. And that's okay. I bought so much from the bear market through recently. Although I did throw a little bit into 2 Solana coins this week.
Ooh.
I can't talk about said coins yet because they haven't really been released or talked about yet in the open. And until I'm given the go ahead, I don't want to share that with other people. However, one of those people we will be having as a guest on our show in the near future, next few weeks. And that's going to will be actually the first show that they're going to be on in regards to this token. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity even then, because there still hadn't been any real marketing or any real, people not really knowing about the coin yet. So they may put a lot of money into it. So I think, could be good. And you know what? I don't really buy a lot on Solana. I don't use Solana too much. I have a couple wallets and things like that. But, I had, when I lost my Solana in the Voyager collapse, because they didn't have Solana was not set up yet to be able to transfer off the platform. So I kind of just got stuck there. Unfortunately, maybe I should have sold it into another coin, transferred it off. But that was like early on in my crypto days buying Voyager and not really know what I was doing so much. Nonetheless, I had like 50, 60 Solana on there and got a little bit of the money back, but I just haven't got back into Solana too much since then. And so this will be kind of my first foray into the sort of Solana. I'll say meme coins, but these coins are have huge backing. There's a lot of money behind them, and looks like potentially good projects. So we'll see how it goes. Other than that, I haven't been buying too much. Nonetheless, I am excited. Richard Hart's been very active, a lot of tweets, things like that. We've also had a lot of people talking shit about Richard Hart and his ecosystem, and it's like, look, if you don't feel like it's going to work anymore, if you don't feel like it's going to go up, feel free to sell and buy into something that you trust. I don't care if you sell at a loss because you still get your tax savings if you're in the United States, and you can buy something else that you feel more confident in. But like, I hate this. I hate these people that are, bashing someone because their bags aren't going up, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I said this in a tweet too. It's like, if you were in Pulse Chain for the sacrifice, PulseX for the sacrifice, and you started farming ink like early on, how much ink that you could have gained in the first 18 months before the yield went down, 21 months before the yield went down, was like an incredible amount of ink. And I know that I farmed a shit ton, and it made my bags look much nicer than they would have if I just sat back and wanted somebody else to do the work for me. On top of that, early on, swing trading, and there's still to this day, there's still some really good channels for swing trading where you can, use 20% of your bag, whatever you feel comfortable with. Don't suggest getting too degenerate, but giving your ability to swap between coins and grow your bags without putting in new capital. And so I always feel like, if people aren't putting in the work and aren't actually using the ecosystem, to yield, to make money, then why are you in decentralized finance to begin with? Like, what is your plan? Because if you don't have a plan to increase your coins without putting in new money, new capital, or expecting someone else to do the work for you, then you're probably not in the right place. So just sell your bags and get out of here. Other than that, I still very much believe in the Richard Heart ecosystem. I mean, it's obviously the largest part of my portfolio. Obviously, but it's the largest part of my portfolio. And I'm super excited about it. I love the way it's built. I love how it works. And I'm looking forward to the future because I think it is going to be bright. Anyway, little rant. And
I like it though. That's a good rant. And I wanted to touch on you're talking about Solana. I was actually I only just recently did my very first Solana transactions. Like, I've been in the crypto sphere for almost 6 years now. And like, I only just maybe 2 weeks ago, like, downloaded the Phantom wallet, got some Solana, fiddled around with it, and I was like, okay, I've had enough of Solana. I am transferring this all back to like Ethereum or back to whatever the hell that like sent it on its way. So I did fuck around with Solana for the first time like ever, and I will say it is a very fast chain when you're using it, and it's not going down because they've got like 1 or 2 centralized servers or something. So it's pretty nifty, and yeah, like I still have moderately no idea what goes on most of the chain. I know that they've got some pretty cool dexes like Radium and oh shoot, I can't think of any others off the top of my head. But the Phantom wallet is really, really, really easy for a brand new like cryptocurrency user to operate. So shout out to the Phantom wallet and all those dudes over there making cool things. It'd be great if the Phantom wallet integrated Pulse Chain. I would certainly love to see that. One of the things that we're going to do here, because I want to transition over into chat shoutouts. And then after we do chat shoutouts, I want to give the folks at home a chance to win some free motherfucking Degen Roundtable stickers, baby. So check this out, guys. I've got probably, oh man, I think it's like 250 like Degen Roundtable stickers. So I'm trying to give these bitches away to people that type in the word. I don't know if you guys can see the scrolling chyron at the bottom of the screen, but it says type in hashtag ShrimpTech for the chance to win some free Degen Roundtable stickers. I should probably rewrite it because it's not the chance. It's you definitively do win Degen Roundtable stickers if you type in hashtag ShrimpTech into the comments below. People, I will do a drawing afterwards where I'll be giving away other stickers that I'm not going to. I guess I already showed you guys these guys ones, but I've got other stickers here as well that I'm going to be putting in special magical little envelopes. Like I've got a couple of them right over here on my desk. One for Amber, and then there's one for Hex Glenn sitting over here somewheres. But yeah, people that have won the sticker challenges, they get stickers sent to them. Shout out to Jemmy who's already got her stickers on the way in the mail. Jemmy was one of the first people to send me a mailing address, so you get some stickers. Other people get some stickers, but yeah, absolutely. Type in hashtag ShrimpTech if you want stickers. You definitively win a Degen Roundtable sticker just for participating, and you have the chance to win extra stickers if you guys win the giveaway thing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my share screen over here that will show you guys what to do. Basically, all you got to do in the comments is you just type in hashtag ShrimpTech. Doesn't matter if it's capitalized or lowercase or whatever the hell. Just hashtag ShrimpTech or # ShrimpTech whatever you want to call this number thing. See, look at that. We've already got 5 entries. So we're going to do a couple giveaways. We're going to do 2 giveaways where I hit this magical draw button and 2 people win extra stickers. But everybody that types in hashtag Shrimp Tech, you guys get DGen Roundtable stickers, and I will send them to you if you DM me an address to send it to. So I've already got a list on my in my notes of like all the people that have typed in hashtag Shrimp Tech. So I freaking love to see it. And we love giving away stickers, and we love each and every one of you guys. So there y'all go. Go ahead and start typing in the hashtag Shrimp Tech stuff. And we're going to go ahead and run through some chat motherfucking shout outs. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it's time for chat motherfucking shout outs. One of the best parts of the show, my favorite part of the show, where I get to interact with you guys here in the comments, just as you guys interact with us. We love each and every single one of you. So starting off tonight, we've got Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics rolling in an hour and a half before the show started. Shout out to you, Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. Fucking love you, broski. This is a good real life friend of mine. Super cool guy. He says, Happy Father's Day with the sunglasses and the thumbs up. Happy Father's Day to you too, sir. Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. We've also got Mr. Slide 180, a good real life friend of mine. In fact, a fellow Marine friend of mine from our time in the Marine Corps. Shepherd's pie to you, Mr. Josh Slide 180. He says, Happy Father's Day. I'm going out with my mom and stepdad, so hope y'all have a good show. Yes, indeed, good sir. We will certainly have a good show. Next up, we're joined by Mr. Orez O. Vidigan. It's been a while since I've seen you, amigo. Welcome back. Good to see you here on the DGen Roundtable. He's throwing up the fires for us today. Glad that we could have you with us, good sir. Next up is Mr. Moonmutt, another real-life friend of mine. Glad to be here with my DGen friends tonight. Glad to see you too, Mr. Moonmutt. Shout out to you, sir. I am excited to see you here, and I got to come visit you at some point. Next time I'm rolling through your area, I'll make sure to swing by and say hi. Last time, I remember our work schedules didn't line up, and I had to get to a job site, but Mr. Moonmutt's super cool, awesome, and he also says Happy Father's Day to all the DGen daddies out there. We're also joined by Miss Amber Simon. Miss Amber Simon says Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Shout out to you, Miss Amber Simon. Good to see you with us today. She's also got Miss Amber Simon's already got a sticker envelope. So once I get a mailing address to her, then I'll make sure to send her out those fantastic DGen Roundtable stickers. And also everybody else, if you guys are writing hashtag Shrimp Tech in the comments and things, then the next step you have to do, which I'll explain after I'm done with chat shoutouts, is you got to send me a mailing address, because I'm literally just putting these things in mailing envelopes and then dropping them off at the post office box. So there you guys go. But next up, after Amber Simon, we've got Mr. Hexagon Lost in Asia saying, "Let's go, abso-fucking-lutely." Good to see you, Mr. Hexagon Lost in Asia. We're going to be going real hard today, talking about all sorts of stuff going on at the macro and way up high. So again, reminder. Oh, yep. So that's the next shout out. Shrimp Tech for the chance to win free DRT stickers. We're also joined by Mr. Condor Enki Tenzin. Mr. Condor Enki Tenzin, good to see you, broski. It's been a while. He says, "Good day to all." So good day to you, sir. What is that? That's a sparkle, a birthday, or a party emoji, a fire, and a sunflower. Welcome, Mr. Condor Enki Tenzin. Good to see you. Mr. Hex Glenn, I've also got stickers for you in a mailing envelope, but I don't have an address, so DM me on Telegram or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, I guess. But Telegram's the best one. So it's good to see you, Mr. Hex Glenn. Welcome to the stream. We're also joined by Miss Tam Tam, who says, "Hello, my lovelies." Hello to you too, Miss Tam Tam. Glad that we could have you with us tonight. And Mr. Josh, hashtag Shrimp Tech. I'm back, baby. Goddamn right, broski. I'm gonna put more stickers in
Welcome back.
Yes,
Cheers to that.
more stickers inside of your what is it called? The thing that you put in the mail. An envelope. There we go. Good
An
to see you, Mr. Josh.
envelope if you're in a fancy place.
Envelope. Yes. Mr. Brendan also says type hashtag Shrimp Tech if you want stickers. Very good. Very good. I'm going to take a look at the entry. We've got 6 entries now. Oh boy, this is going to get good. And then we've got other people throwing up the Shrimp Tech. Everyone's getting the Shrimp Tech, and I personally demand that Will delivers. I demand that Will personally delivers my stickers in person, sir. Your demand will be met, and I will make that happen. Absolutely. I'm not gonna. I know where you live, good sir. And you're actually you're pretty damn close to me. Not to dox your location or anything, but yeah, I'm gonna fucking drive over there and deliver your stickers, and also maybe pick up another bottle of that honey wine at some point whenever you make your next batch. So It's going to be awesome. But it's good to see all y'all's in the comments. Glad that we could have you all with us today. I'm going to go ahead and change the scrolling Chiron to the one that has the information on how to do the stuff. So, as you guys can see, scrolling down there on the bottom of the screen, it says hashtag or type hashtag shrimp tech for the chance to win the free DRT stickers, and then send Will a DM. Where's my finger? There it is. Send Will a DM at t.me/Will Stevenson, whether you win or not, so he can get you those dope motherfucking stickers. So everyone that types in hashtag shrimp tech, I'm adding you to a list, right? And if you're on the list, then you get the stickers mailed to you. And if you win, then you get extra stickers. So I'll go ahead and bring up the share screen again so that you guys can see hashtag shrimp tech. We will do one draw right now, so that way we don't interrupt the flow of the show. And then we will do another draw at the end of the show, so you guys can get some awesome possum stickers into your pockets. So let's see. Oh man, I do not have a whole lot of do we have drum rolls? We do have drum rolls. And we have kids cheering. Excellent. And royalty-free epic music. Oh, we're going to do that one. All right, guys, here we go. Drawing for the first round of Shrimp Deck. Let's fucking get it. Drum roll, please. All right. Hooray! We've got Brendan of the Degen Roundtable. We're going to draw again because he's given me the nope sign.
No, not me. I just put it there to tell people.
Yep, there you go. We're going to draw again, get some more drum roll going, and then royalty-free epic music. Oh, wow, that's not very epic. Oh, DJ Roundtable. Dear God. All right, we're going to draw again.
What are the odds?
This is actually the, oh, shit, we got Josh as the winner. Fuck yeah, broski. Hell yeah. Congratulations.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers to Josh. Glad that we could have you with us today, bro. Fuck yeah. All right. So we've got Josh as our first winner of the night. Congratulations to Mr. Slide 180. Hope Miss Amber Simon also demands in-person sticker delivery as well. I could make that happen. And excellent. We've got a valid winner. Here I was thinking it was rigged. Yeah, bro. Super totally rigged. Before I forget, though, I need to make sure that I'm going to get one of these special stickers. And let's see. How many special stickers are we going to go? We're going to grab one of this one out of the pack. This is the super cool packet that I'm definitely not showing you guys. So, by the way, once you get these stickers in the mail, my personal request is that you do not show everybody else how cool and awesome these stickers are, so that way we can keep the mystery and the mystique of what these special stickers are alive for the folks at home, so that way they can all get envious and jealous, and you guys could be like, haha, I have something special that no one else knows about. So keep doing that. But Mr. Josh, here are your special stickers, sir. I'm going to put them in this pile over here because I've actually ran out of envelopes, so I need to go buy some at the store later. Let's see. And then I will update my list over here, and we will get a rockin' and a rollin'. So Josh has one. Bam. And good to see. So I will go ahead and take care of that when it is time to do so. So, let's see. Mr. Condor Enki Tenzin actually has an update here. So he had to order new work shoes and received a couple days back. His yearly means to DCA. Amazing that you mention it. Always great topics to always a pleasure to join. Hell yeah, broski. Glad that we could have you with us, and glad that you're back to making DCA money. I'm certainly glad to be making DCA money again. It's been a long 9 months of watching these prices be like pretty damn low, and now I finally have a chance to grab some more of them. So shout out to you, good sure, and shout out to everybody who is also taking that dry powder lifestyle more seriously. So with that being said, we have now done our due diligence. Just a reminder for everyone who's typed in hashtag shrimp tech, I'll go ahead and post my a link to my Telegram, so that way you guys can just click on the link, and that will take you directly to being able to send me an address to send these stickers to. And by the way, you don't have to send it to your own address. You can send it to the President of the United States, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington D.C. You could send it to your worst enemy. You could send it to your boss. You could send these stickers anywhere. I don't care. I will literally just copy and paste whatever address you give me, and I will throw that bitch in the mail. So you don't have to dox yourself. You don't have to worry. I'm keeping all of this information safe. And the good news is I forget everything. So like, even if I do remember your address, it'll definitely be forgotten. So no sweat. Just send me a DM over here for everybody that typed in hashtag ShrimpTech. If you guys want some free stickers, then you get one of these magical DGen Roundtable stickers. And if you win the drawing, then you get extra. So read all about it. And that's all we've got for that. Let's go ahead and hop into the meat and potatoes of the show. So, Mr. Brendan, there are some things that we were talking about in the green room. We got CPI, we've got macro, we've got the wars, SharpLink, all sorts of stuff. What do you want to start off with first, good sir?
Well, I want to start off with an AI generated Bitcoin ad that makes people that we know say things that maybe they haven't actually said, but I found it hilarious and I thought it was a really good ad. If you don't mind me sharing my screen and showing that, I think you guys are going to enjoy it, and I guess maybe you haven't seen it yet. So,
okie dokie. I have probably not, because I imagine this has come out rather recently. But dude, those AI videos that are coming out of, I don't know if it's Google or VO or whatever it is, but I've seen a whole bunch of people have the Sasquatches that are Sasquatch or like Bigfoot influencers and things. But oh, there we go. I see we've got the thing over here. So can you full screen that, Brendan?
yes.
Awesome, sweet.
Yes, I
And
can.
let's do a sound check when we got a moment.
You've been very successful, but what's your biggest regret in life?
Does that work? Sound
Yeah,
good?
it works. It works. That sounds like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. So this was, I just found this, but just here we go.
You've been very successful, but what's your biggest regret in life?
Good question. Probably that I never got to 6.15. I didn't buy the dip hard enough, or the top for that matter.
My advisor told me to diversify out of my Bitcoin position. And like an idiot, I listened. That decision probably cost me $1 billion or $2 billion.
In those days, you could get a Bitcoin for $200, and I didn't buy nearly as much as I should have.
What's your biggest regret in life?
Not stacking hard enough.
Jesus.
Someone said it was either worth 0 or infinity. I thought that was the dumbest thing I ever heard. Anyway, this is where I live now. Spare any sats?
Oh my God. Dude, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Oh, man.
The end is the kicker. The end is my favorite part.
Yeah, dude. Oh, geez. That's super cool. Good find.
Yeah, so shout out. I just shout out to the person that I saw this from, which was Jason AI.Williams, which is at Going Parabolic. That is his name on X. I didn't follow him. That just kind of was a video that was suggested to me. And after watching the video, I did hit follow because that was one of the best things I've seen this week.
Dude, that's fucking brilliant. I like that a lot. That's quite good.
They said it could go to 1 million or to 0. Not that that was the dumbest thing I ever heard. So, you know, I live here now in the streets.
Dude, we're in trouble, man. With AI like getting that good, it's like, bro, actors, like commercial actors, probably going to be out of jobs in the near future. Like just for simple little commercial spots, kind of like that, you know, like, man, you know who's not going to be out of job? Fucking iron workers, plumbers, fucking HVAC technicians,
any tradesman for that matter.
Yeah, dude, like farmers, people that fix cars, like anything that requires like people picking things up and putting them in spots. It's like, wow, what a crazy fucking world, dude. That's so good. Like, I would have thought that's real. You know, if I didn't know that was AI.
I'm pretty sure it's AI. I don't know 100% myself, but I'm guessing it's AI.
Yeah.
And Jason AI Williams, since, you know, his name has AI in it, I'm guessing that very well.
I mean, yeah. The math adds up. God damn, that's so crazy, dude. Wow. Good find though, Brendan. Good find. Did you say? Did I hear you earlier? Where you said that there's like multiple of those, like a whole bunch of people making Bitcoin.
I saw another video that was like that. It was completely different, but it was on Bitcoin again. Thing is, I couldn't find it again. That one I had bookmarked, so I had it. I could not find the other one. So unfortunately, I don't have the second one. But nonetheless, that was good.
That's real fucking good, dude. I like that a lot. That's a good way to start the show. What a fucking
glad you liked it, brother. So from there, we could do a couple things. I think we could. You know what? Let's pull up the ETH strategic reserve real quick, because that's something we've been talking a lot about recently. And a little birdie told me something happened this week that we had talked about a couple weeks ago. So I think it's worth a mention. I can share my screen again.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
So for the folks at home who haven't heard of the Ethereum Strategic Reserve before, it's basically just a dude created a website that keeps track of all the people that basically have their own, bank or strategic reserve of Ethereum, the digital oil.
Just keeps track of wallets and companies and entities, governments that hold Ethereum as a strategic reserve, right? We've heard a lot about Bitcoin strategic reserve in the United States, MicroStrategy, other companies, other countries. But we're finally starting to see a little bit more movement on the Ethereum side of things. So SharpLink Gaming is not a gaming company, but they actually do advertisement and marketing for things like gaming and digital assets and other things. So they announced that they were planning to hopefully raise $1 billion to buy Ethereum, and that they are essentially going to follow Michael Saylor and strategy, except instead of using Bitcoin, they're using Ethereum. And their stock jumped 35x when they first announced it. And this week, they actually went through with it, with their first purchase anyway. I would not be surprised if we see more. This was not obviously $1 billion. Well, say they bought this at 2,500, right? 2,500 times 176,000 is 440 million. So almost half of what they were hoping to raise, and they're still working on that. So we could see them double this number at some point in the near future. And I think that's pretty cool. It also jumped them directly up to the second highest holding of ETH, right in front of the Pulse Chain Sacrifice wallet and right behind the Ethereum Foundation. I personally would love if they continue to buy, and then they're sitting at number one in front of the Ethereum Foundation. How awesome would it be if, Ethereum Foundation keeps, hold on, I got to give a little drink to our Funk Master Hex. Cheers, brother.
Funk Master Hex. Cheers to you, amigo.
I would find it hilarious because Ethereum obviously sold a lot. Ethereum Foundation sold a lot of ETH, and of course they get more and more. But it would be funny if they're sitting at number 2 and SharpLink Gaming is sitting at 1 with even more ETH. It's like, who believes in ETH more, the Foundation or SharpLink?
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty cool. Prior to this, there was just under a million Ethereum. So they not only broke that million barrier, but put it well over that threshold. So shout out to SharpLink Gaming. Keep stacking. The Pulse Chain and Hex communities are big fans of Ethereum, and we think Ethereum is going to do great. Also, shout out to fabda.eth on X, who was the one that put this together. And I've been paying attention, and I think it's good. Obviously, I have ETH. I'm a big fan of ETH. I think ETH is going to have a pretty big parabolic run this cycle. It's where the builders build. It's where the stable coins sit. It's where people can bring money into the ecosystem. If banks and governments are going to create coins, stable coins, where are they going to build those? They're going to build them on ETH, right? And so this is just super bullish in my opinion. And I like that this is a website that just shows people, it gets them more excited about things. And look, this is only 38 people holding 1 million ETH. Wait till we get 100 different entities holding ETH. As these entities continue to stack, well, maybe not Ethereum. Maybe Pulse Chain SAC doesn't sit at 166,000 ETH forever. Maybe that gets rotated somewhere else. But yeah, I think this is super cool. And since we did bring this up a couple weeks ago, we wanted to show you that we were right. Sharplink Gaming was planning to make that strategy, and they went halvesies with 500 million almost. So, what you
Hell
think,
yeah.
Will?
That's fucking crazy, man. You were saying earlier that that it's like somewhere around half a billion dollars that they've put in like two fucking or like just a couple days or a week or something like that. Like that's crazy money.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
440. Yeah, about 440 million, maybe 450, maybe close to 500. I didn't do the exact math, but
Yeah.
I didn't look at what their purchase price was. I don't know if it was above 2,500 or below 2,500. So I know
Yeah.
it was around there.
I'm just gonna do
Nonetheless,
some
crazy,
quick
right?
math here. Yeah, 175,000 just to kind of round it off times we'll say ETH is $2,500. That's
440.
437 million. Jeez Louise. So, round up both of those numbers and you've got like almost $500 million there sitting on SharpLink's balance sheet. So, who knows what price they got it for, but it's worth $500 million. So, that's fucking something. That is definitely something. Wow. That's
Yeah.
I would be very, very, very excited to see this do similar things to what Michael Saylor's doing with Bitcoin. And like we were talking about earlier, like SharpLink Gaming does online advertising for basically online casino games, So places where people go on the internet and they gamble their money away, which are generally really, really, really good marketing companies, would be something that I would imagine. They do a whole lot of affiliate marketing and things of that nature. And Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, which is Michael Saylor's company that buys the Bitcoin, they're more of like a speculation company, as I understand, or something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken. So the amount of marketing that they do for Bitcoin, I think, is pretty damn extreme, and their whole thing isn't marketing at all to begin with. Like they're an investment company. I think that they did a whole bunch of speculation during the .com the .com stuff that happened in the late 90s or early 2000s. I might be confusing them with a different company, but their whole thing is investing, and SharpLink's whole thing is marketing. And marketing is the one thing that Ethereum needs the most right now. Is like they're not doing a super duper effective job with it. I see you've brought up a share screen. Should I pull it up?
Yes, please, sir. I went to their website just for the heck of it, and they updated their website. Look what they have here now. If you don't mind me reading this really quickly.
Yeah, please do.
About SharpLink. SharpLink is one of the first NASDAQ-listed companies to develop a treasury strategy centered on ETH, which will serve as SharpLink's primary treasury reserve asset. In adopting its new treasury policy, SharpLink intends to provide investors with economic exposure to ETH and to advocate for its role as digital capital. So, two things here. First, NASDAQ listed and ETH treasury strategy centered around ETH. But I think the other part is very cool is it says, and to advocate for its role as digital capital. So it's going to advocate for ETH. Like you said, it's going to be really big and hopefully creates a big buzz in markets it just like Saylor does. Obviously, there's probably not an entity as big as Saylor here, but as a company, they can do a lot because what do? They literally market gaming. And now, what more do they have? What more do they need to want to market ETH to the world? Because look at now, they're the second largest holder. And if I were to venture to guess, in the next month or so, or maybe less, they'll become the largest holder of ETH worldwide, even out of the Ethereum Foundation. So I thought this new paragraph that they put on their website this week was very cool.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly what people need. And like in the first paragraph, they're specifically talking about the role as digital capital. It's like Bitcoin is decent as like digital store of value, but it's not very useful in terms of like stuff that you can do with it. It's basically send and receive, and that takes 10 minutes. Ethereum, you can get like 17-second transactions or faster, and on some of the L2s, even better than that. Like you've got instant capability to transact and to send things to people. It's like it's basically competing with MasterCard and Visa and Stripe and other things as like a payment, like as far as the ability to get in like a whole bunch of transactions per second and stuff like that. So that's pretty fucking cool. And I think that that's something that the usability of Ethereum, and also you can create like, if then smart contract sort of like, hey, if this X, Y, and Z thing happens, then make this sort of thing happen. So you can create code and you can create automated machines that once you launch it onto the Ethereum blockchain, then anybody can run that code and do this, that, or the other thing. So creating a whole bunch of like trustless systems for people to create like escrow stuff, or to do like payment plans, or create like voting things, and decentralized like autonomous organizations and stuff. We read the Ethereum white paper recently, me and Nate. So like I'm semi like fresh on my whole Ethereum knowledge and stuff. But yeah, dude, that's a super cool thing that what Sharplink is doing for Ethereum, and just spending a boatload of money on things that I like. So I'm always happy to see more people join the family.
I will, if you don't mind me sharing my screen and showing one other thing here that I think is pretty cool. Some people have probably heard of this. You probably have as well. But whoops.
Oh, we lost it. But
fat fingered it.
It looked like it was about the Coinbase card.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
Yes. Man, my mouse is going AWOL here.
Ooh,
so for those of you who have not heard, Coinbase announced that they are going to be rolling out a credit card. What is different about this card compared to other previous intimations of crypto credit cards is that it is actually run by a major credit card company, and that is American Express. So this will be the first crypto card run with American Express. So it's interesting. So there are things I don't love about it. One is that if you want to reach its highest level, you have to keep coins on a centralized exchange. Isn't great, but it's at least a start at something. It's cool. Being able to get 4% back on Bitcoin, on every purchase, if, again, who knows, if, like they say here, it's not clear whether you have to have 10,000 in assets to reach the 4% rate, or 1,000 or more. But the credit card is going to start at 2%. So even 2% back isn't terrible. You do need Coinbase One. And I did sign up. So if you're interested, you can go there, go to Coinbase, and you can put your email in. So be like, hey, you'll be the first ones to be notified when it's actually available to the public. So it's not available to the public yet. So we'll have new information coming out. But it's cool that American Express, a major entity, is partnering with a crypto firm. Again, not the best that we have to keep assets on centralized exchange to maximize cash back. But hey, 4% cash back into Bitcoin. I spend a lot of money every year because all of my work expenses, I travel twice a week for work, 2 weeks a month. All of my work expenses go on my personal credit card. And so if that's 4% back into Bitcoin for my work expenses, that's a lot of money. And I will certainly be looking into this when more details come out.
Dude, like, I agree. So this is something that other exchanges do as well. I know that Gemini has one, Crypto.com has one. I think that Kraken has one, but I'm not positive. But I know that Nate and Gains by Casey, shout out to those two D gentlemen in the community. They both have the some cryptocurrency card. I think that Nate talks about the Crypto.com one, and maybe Gains by Casey has talked about the Gemini one. I could be getting my memories confused, but
yes,
I know that
Gemini
there's
does
other
have one. That's MasterCard, but this will be the first American Express one. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And there are other cards out there that exist that are like cryptocurrency credit cards and things, but this one is like, the United States' most major exchange is Coinbase, for better for worse. And if you trust Coinbase more than you trust your bank, then perhaps this is something worth looking into. Or not even a bank really, but just like a credit card or a debit card sort of thing. So I wonder almost if this is if this is a credit card or if it is a debit card, because if you have to have a certain amount of assets in your account when you go to spend it, then I'm wondering if this is like it takes the assets out of your account.
No, it's still a credit card. It's still a credit card. It's just
it is?
You'll get the more money you have in Coinbase, the higher returns you'll get.
Oh, okay. So if you keep
up to 4%, which is the same as Gemini for the record. And Gemini does not, I don't think it allows you to have any, needs you to have any. But I think it's cool because everyone knows Coinbase. I shouldn't say everybody. More people know Coinbase than Gemini, and so I think that it's just good to bring more awareness to the world.
Yeah. There's something to be said also on Coinbase. So there's USD, which is just regular ass dollars, and then there's USDC, which is cryptocurrency dollars, right? That are it's owned by Circle, which has just gone public, which a lot of it got bought up by our favorite BlackRock and those big giant we joke that they're bug eaters, but like who knows what they're really doing. But they own a good part of Circle. They probably own a good part of Coinbase stock as well. But there's a lot of people that push for folks to use USDC, which is the Ethereum token, or I'll just say cryptocurrency in general token because it's on multiple blockchains. But there's a lot of push for people to use USDC. So if you have a whole bunch of USDC in your Coinbase and it's just like a stack of dry powder that you're waiting to deploy, another thing that you can do as just a general yield bearing asset is if you just hold USDC on Coinbase, then you get like a 4% APY just for holding it there, just for it sitting there and existing. So that's another thing to consider. So if you have a bunch of USDC, you can earn 4% up to 4%, I think, for it just sitting there, and that number changes periodically. So it might be 2 right now, or it might be 1 later. Who knows? But yeah, if you have that sitting there and you're using this card as well, then there's a potential for you to be getting like a combined amount of 8%. 4 for just sitting still and doing nothing, and then the other 4 for going out and making transactions, and then it auto DCAs into Bitcoin and sends it into your account. So something worth thinking about anyways. It's not necessarily, I'm not putting a recommendation on do it or don't do it. That's up to you guys. You have to figure out what to do with your life, but these are some cool new tools that now exist. Another thing to keep in mind is exchanges want you to have your money on their platforms. So they're obviously incentivizing this, right?
Yep.
And so like folks just have to understand that is a very real thing to consider, do I need to think about why they want my money on their exchange? Like FTX wanted everyone to have a whole bunch of money on their exchange, and then they went under. I don't think that Coinbase is going to do it, but you never really know. So it's just, you have to consider all of the risks that are associated alongside all of the rewards. So those are my thoughts on the matter. I'm super stoked to see Coinbase doing this. So it's a cool tool that didn't exist before.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
And I will say the opportunity for 4% on all transactions is good. Gemini, you don't get 4% on every transaction. It's only on certain things. And I think it tapers down to 1% on some purchases. So the potential to have 4% Bitcoin on all purchases would really, really make me think about making that my go-to credit card.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's better to just like take a look at it. What could hurt by getting some information. So
correct.
You guys heard it here first on the Degen Roundtable. So go have a think about it and decide what is the best tool for you. But I like seeing this sort of stuff. I think it is cool. Another thing that I noticed that Coinbase offered a long time ago, and I don't know if they're still offering it. I'm gonna go click on. So I'm on my Coinbase account right now. I clicked more, and they used to have an option to have you could get what is it, direct deposit, so you could have your paychecks sent to Coinbase instead of going to your regular bank. So that used to be a thing that Coinbase did, or that they talked about offering. I don't know if it ever came to fruition. I'm clicking on Coinbase One right now, and I don't see it. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that Coinbase offers. So go check it out. Go see if it's the right move for you. And that's all my thoughts on that. So good find, Mr. Brendan. Excellent work there. What else do we want to cover? We've still got macro, we've still got the wars going on.
We did have a teaser, so maybe we should go to that for our headline today, which is, could war end crypto's bull market? we've had, if you think about it, last bull market for crypto may have been cut short due to a pandemic, a virus, and lockdowns. I'm not saying that it was, but you could make a case that the bull market was shortened, or at least didn't go as high as people anticipated because there were other factors involved. Well, could something like the wars, now we already have Russia, Ukraine, and that didn't really affect the market. Bitcoin still reached all-time highs. We had Israel and Hamas and Gaza. That's been going on for a long time. That really hasn't affected the markets too much because Bitcoin still reached all-time highs. But Israel striking Iran and Iran striking back brings a new bit of fear to some people in the market. The market did react negatively this week when that happened. What would it take for something like this to affect the bull market? And one, and two, how did the markets react thus far? Did they dip as much as you would have thought on Israel striking Iran, or was it a pretty mild pullback?
I have a confession to make, Brendan, and it's that I've been just so busy stacking towers that I didn't know there was a war going on until like earlier today. I was talking to the boys and they're like, "Yeah, so I guess there's a war with Iran." I'm like, "What? A war? Oh shit!" So I had no idea, man. I didn't notice what happened with the market, but I think in the Degen Roundtable chat there were some folks talking about how like Bitcoin and Ethereum, it did have a little bit of a dip. And I don't know much about the macro or the TradFi market, but can you give me like a down low of essentially what happened financially?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin essentially went from that 110 area down to 105. Did hold around 105. I think it's right around there now again. And I think it dipped briefly below 105. So I think it went down to, I'm looking here. Yeah, it went down a little bit below 105 and then bounced back up a little bit. So it went down just below 104. So it went down to 103.8, give or take. And then now it's back. So for all intents and purposes, went down to about 105,000. And Ethereum still sticking around that $2,500 level. It did tick below that a little bit, but it is just around 2,500 still. So we did get a pullback, and we were expecting a pullback already, right, with or without the wars. So this could have just been, in my opinion, a pullback, facilitated what people will say on the war, but we kind of expected a bit of a pullback to begin with. Now, I do believe that we're still going higher, quite a bit higher this cycle. But this does bring worry into the market. I will read a tweet by our president or whatever. I think he posted on Truth Social and people share it on Twitter or whatever. Sorry, post on X, not Twitter, not tweet, post on X. Every once in a while I slip up there. But yeah, so, I think that the markets held up pretty well considering, and, it's a regional war, right? I think the markets have started to just expect some Middle East worries. It's been talked about that Israel might strike Iran. And the reason that they did it, they say that they struck nuclear sites. They actually put some people underground, as in they don't live anymore, that were the highest level of Israelis' leadership and military and nuclear scientists. So they did a very targeted strike, and it went extremely well from what they say, what people are saying. And then Iran retaliated and did actually hit Israel a little bit as well. But Iran's pretty and look, I'm not taking a side here. I'm not saying I don't want the United States to get in a war. I will say that. I don't think that's where we need to be. But doesn't sound like you got a lot of time to think about it. But first thoughts, what do you think?
That, like, with Iran and Israel being at a war, I think that like the U.S., if they were going to side with one, it would probably be with Israel. Like,
for sure. I mean, they definitely.
Yeah, like we see the videos of and shout out to Sami for bringing this to my attention. But like, there's a whole bunch of videos of like Trump like scooting Netanyahu's chair in for him, and like the U.S. has had a long-standing relationship with Mossad, and like a lot of our money goes to Israel. A lot of our war tech gets donated to Israel. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So like, if Iran's at war with Israel, like I suppose that makes them at war with us or something like that. I don't know how all of that stuff works, but
Well, if we're not sending troops over, then we're not really at war, right?
yeah.
So do you think that if this is a prolonged issue between Israel and Iran, that it could affect the markets, or do you think it's sort of just a regional dispute, and as long as the United States doesn't get involved, then the markets probably are going to react not too poorly?
Well, I know that Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and some of those other some of those other corporations probably flagged our account on YouTube by me saying them out loud. Their stock's probably going to go up. Their shareholder price is probably going to increase, and but like as far as the large market, you know, long-term conflict tends to have like a long-term drain, generally speaking. And then people also go into more scarce assets during those times. So like people aren't buying like as frivolously as they normally do, but they're moving back to the more like hard assets like gold and silver, probably I would imagine, and like, you know, war bonds if they exist, things of that nature. And they're probably not spending all their money on meme coins during wars and stuff. So like parts of the market will go up for sure. But you'll see supply chains break down. You'll see like, you know, I think that this probably will increase the M2 money supply, and it will probably decrease the business cycle or something along those lines, you know. And again, shout out to Sami for being the one to come up with the narrative that Bitcoin is tied to the M2 money supply, and that the altcoin cycle is tied to the business cycle. If that's the case, then we'll probably see a lot more money flocking to Bitcoin. And if there's people that are, you know, being affected on the ground and they need a way to transfer, you know, funds from here to there or something like that, then you'll probably see a lot more Bitcoin use case in war-torn areas and things of that nature, or like cash and, you know, transferring the Rolexes and things, you know, all the valuable assets that you can carry around with you, either as like a USB memory stick or like a piece of paper with 12 words written on it, or like, you know, like some fancy rings and watches and stuff. So like there's going to be parts of the market that probably go up, but I think that like the long-term dragging out of conflict tends to have a negative effect on the market. And again, I'm not very well versed in this stuff. This is just kind of me talking out of my ass here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I would have turned the same question
Sure.
back to you. What do you think?
Well, I'll focus on crypto. I don't really care so much about the regular markets. I think what you said is true, you know, but first of all, I don't think it's going to be a long-term conflict between Iran and Israel. I think they deterring Iran from having nuclear power, nuclear weapons, potentially. Not that I know how close they were. I don't trust what anybody says, Israel or the United States, because generally we just use those whatever we say as a reason to strike someone or a reason to create a war. But definitely not. Definitely don't want the United States to get involved. I think that would affect the markets a lot. I think if this is a short fight between Israel and Iran and they can come to some sort of agreement, then that would be great. Our president did say that he wants Israel and Iran to make a deal, and it doesn't sound like he wants this to continue on for a long time. And so I think that he could potentially put pressure on Israel. And so from a crypto market standpoint, the market's held up pretty well. Like I said, 105K Bitcoin, $2,500 ETH. If that's a dip, then it's not going to hurt anybody watching us, because we're used to much more massive issues. And so I think the market actually responded well overall, the crypto market, to what could have been worse news. And that's positive for me. And the United States wanting that conflict to dissipate, I think that's just more good news for crypto moving forward. So I don't have a lot of worry at the moment, but you know, anytime a fast duel, I am here for the tech too. Tech. But yeah, I don't think I don't think a short term is going to make an issue, but it does create a little bit more uncertainty, right? You want to read that out?
Yeah, I think this is perfect for what you're talking about. This is from Paul Sachs. Shout out to Paul. If ballistic missiles make Bitcoin price hold, will a tactical nuke make it go up? And then the little thinking emojis.
Well,
So
hopefully we see no technical nukes, but
yeah, I hope there is no use case of technical nukes, but or tactical, not technical. But
well,
I don't know if a tactical nuke would make Bitcoin go up. I think it might do a whole bunch of things, but that sets a very strange precedent when tactical nukes start getting launched. It's one of those things that the world has fortunately avoided most of since the 1940s. I don't know how many tactical nuke strikes there have been since then, but yeah, that would I don't think that would end well. So
no, that would be very, very poor. But look, I do think that it brings a little bit more of uncertainty into the market, right? Because if other countries get involved, if push comes to shove and creates a wider breakout or war collateral, then yes, that's going to affect the markets tremendously. But if it's short lived, if they come to some sort of agreement, ceasefire, then I don't think there's going to be a huge issue on the market in general, especially not on the crypto market. But hopefully peace comes, and that's all I can hope for. I really don't like to see wars. I don't like to see people dying, and I don't like to see innocent people dying either. So
yeah, there's I have mixed feelings about war. Being a former active duty Marine, there's something to be said for like conflict and struggle bringing out the best in people, but then there's also like the tragedy of death and of lots of people's lives being snuffed out. um from like an objective and maybe elitist perspective, the more people that like the more people that die in war, the more like high quality survivors are. If you make the argument that like only the weak die, whether it's a country, whether it's like individuals, whether it's like, cities or nation states or something like that, like people that get stomped out because they don't have the ability to market or sell a better defense, or like or even, defend themselves. So there's something to be said about like the great cullining and the separating of the wheat from the chaff. Now, do I think that it's moral or ethical? No, not at all. But like, there's like practical things to the whole Darwinism, like that the strong will survive and things of that nature. So like, there's arguments to be made for all sorts of things. But I definitely agree that peace is better. I also know that like if you live in a time of peace for far too long, then generally what tends to happen is people get soft, and that's like, like good times make weak people make bad times create, hard people make good times, and so it's like this ever going cycle. So while I hate to see war happening, and I definitely vie for peace, like I think I can only do that because I'm in a position of strength, being a member of the United States, and being a part of this country that basically just goes around selling war to the rest of the world. So I want to bring up Condor Enki Tenzin's uh, uh, quote here, and he was saying onboarding trumps waging war. I think peace can bring great things. Yes, peace can definitely bring great things for sure, and war can bring great things as well. I think it's just a matter of how you choose to look at the stuff, right? You can choose to look at it from at all the horrible angles and all the horrible aspects, or you can choose to look at it from like the potential positive aspects. That's just the kind of thing that I want to open up here. Yeah, like there's 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 bad things for people dying. There's good things for people dying. Like Brendan and I are both like we've got a heavy Catholic like knowledge base, and I got to say that like there's a long list of martyrs and saints that like did great things, and they paid the ultimate price for it, and in so doing they created these fantastic images for people to live up to, in terms of like, hey, this is how important faith should be to a person. You pay the ultimate price, and like your death means something. So like there's ways to look at death positively, and there's ways to look at war positively. There's and likewise on the flip side of that coin, there's ways to look at it negatively. So just I certainly prefer peace. All things added up and all things being equal. But that's my thoughts on the matter. What do you think, Brendan?
I was going to say, especially because we are focused on crypto and we're focused on the markets, peace and stability generally bring better news for the markets. And so I prefer rate cuts. I prefer to see peace and rate cuts than war. And I hope that happens. I'd love to see some de-escalation and some people get to the table on some of the other ongoing wars as well. But, I certainly don't want to see more wars. That is an absolute fact. And again, I don't think this strike on Iran is the end of the bull market. I still think we go higher. I'm still very bullish. But the more and more that we bring into a volatility position, it does, make you have to pay attention a bit more. But what do I see this week? Well, I see more companies buying Bitcoin. There was another company that said they were going to buy $800 million worth of Bitcoin this week. And look, every week we talk about this. There's a new company that wants to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin. Of course, Michael Saylor's doing it like every day, it seems like. But look, people are still stacking coins. They think that crypto is the real. And look, maybe the volatility with wars is pushing people more towards crypto, and maybe they're going to buy our bags. And as the money printer goes burr, as interest rates start to drop, and look, we had really good CPI numbers again this released this week. CPI numbers,
index, right?
Yes, consumer price index.
Okay.
And we saw really good numbers. So they came in less than expected. I think they increased 0.1%. And they were expected to increase 0.2%. So it was half as what they anticipated. And then the core CPI went up 0.1%, and they expected it to go up 0.3%. So 0.2 or 20 basis points less than they were anticipating. So we're continuing to see, even with tariffs and things, people keep saying, oh, it's going to get worse, it's going to get worse. But this is now 2 months worth of numbers, and they're continuing to look fantastic. And every number that the Fed usually uses to lower interest rates has come in better than expected. The job market seems to be softening a little bit. So I'm wondering if our buddy Jerome is going to start to make a change at some point here in the future, because I think personally, and I've said this for a while, that he needs to start, and he should start cutting interest rates. I think that there was some worry in regards to tariffs and that kind of stuff, but we haven't seen any of that affect the market yet, and it's been a couple of months. So we need to start cutting because the job market is softening. We're starting to see some underlying issues, and I talked about this in a call this week in one of our Telegram calls, weekly Telegram calls that Jay runs. I was talking about it this week, that the job market, even though overall looks like it's strong, same amount of unemployment, 600,000 people left the job market, which means they weren't looking for jobs, which means they're not calculated into unemployment. So if they were still there, 600,000 jobs would make unemployment look a lot higher. And also there are a few other macro metrics that are making the job market look weakening. So as the job market weakens, that's where they swing to the interest rate, say, okay, maybe we need to cut interest rates to get this economy going so that our job market doesn't get hurt too much, right? They have to balance that dual mandate, and that is maximum employment and minimum inflation. So we shall see, but the numbers have been looking great. The Fed Watch tool did not really make a difference in regards to expectations of rate cuts coming faster. It's still pretty much guaranteed that he's not going to drop rates this month. I think it was 99% that they weren't going to drop. And then now it's like 97%. So it's gone down a couple of percentage points. And that was a 3% chance that he'll cut in June. But I don't see that happening. So then that's June 25th. I'm sorry, June 18th. So we'll get that Fed meeting here this coming week. So keep an eye out for that on Wednesday. And then the next meeting isn't until July 30th. So we have 6 weeks until then. And if he doesn't cut by July, I'm gonna start getting worried. So currently, the Fed Watch tool says 78% chance that he's going to hold rates in July as well. And I'm just worried here that he's going to really start to have an issue. So there's a break in August. There are no meetings in August, which means that will be not until mid-September would be our next meeting. And man, if he doesn't start cutting by July, then we'll see. We'll see how many cuts we're going to get. They say that we're going to cut twice, but I just don't know if it's going to be the case.
I hope they start cutting, and I hope they start printing. One of the things that that I think everybody's been waiting for is this massive inflow of money from. I know that. Oh, excuse me. I know Trump's been waiting for it. I know that he's talked a few times about firing Jerome Powell, whether he actually can or not. Totally a whole different matter there. But that was one of the things that he's been vying for a long, long fucking time. I think that like one of the things that I want to kind of talk about, and I think this ties in a little bit with our last subject, is that like major wars have a tendency to upset like the financial system. So like they basically like break the old system. The government prints a whole bunch of money in order to pay for all the war stuff. The central banks turn into like big fucking war machine. They go from like being like the whole like we create economic policy to like, yeah, we fund the wars, baby, so borrow money from us and we will and we'll help you like print out those tanks and guns and bullets and things. And then like there's a financial regime change. So like the Bretton Woods agreement, I think it was the Bretton Woods Agreement, or it was something after. At Bretton Woods 1944. The U.S. is the one that like said, hey, we're the financial powerhouse now because Britain, you owe us money. Germany, you lost the war. France, you guys got demolished. Like all of the major economic systems and countries in the world, they all like went to like into like crazy debt. And that also happened with Germany after World War I, where the Weimar Republic started just printing money out the wazoo to like pay off the debts and things. And then like there's stuff that sort of kind of happened with Ukraine, where America was sending a whole bunch of money over to Ukraine for like this major war. It wasn't anywhere near as crazy as like what happened after World War I and after World War II. But Britain used to be the world's monetary superpower in like up until it was I think it was after World War II where they went out. But like before Britain, like France and Spain used to be like world empire powers, and I don't know what it was that caused France and Spain, like I don't know when they were both in power, but like the Spanish pieces of 8, back in like the 17 and 1800s, like that was a major piece of currency back in the day. And I don't know if the franc ever was anything worth noting, but like they both had huge empires that spanned and I think what country is Dutch? I want to say it's Denmark or something. Netherlands, yeah, they were a major financial power too because of the shipping industry. So like there was a whole bunch of countries that essentially lost their major monetary control over the rest of the world because of wartime and because they were the losers. France might have been after Napoleon. That might be what I'm thinking about, but I don't know if they were ever an economic powerhouse. But like you can look at Rome and the dinar and the I can't think of other Roman coins other than the denarii. But like all these major world powers all lost their status as being like the main monetary policy of the world when they started losing wars and things. So I want to like just kind of highlight that. And I was asking ChatGPT like what were some of the, because I know that it's happened several times before. But is there anything that you want to comment on that, like as far as like the stuff that's going on, and the money printers and the effects that has?
Yeah, look, the United States has a lot of debt, so how do they pay off their debt? They either print more money or they balance their budget, or they say, hey, we're not going to pay you back. Sorry, we're defaulting on our loans, right? Like, so they're not going to default on their loans. There doesn't look like they're going to start balancing the budget anytime soon. So the only way is for them to print more money. And wars sometimes do also make countries print money, right? Because they have to fund those wars. So there is a thought process there, like, hey, is that connected at all? Again, I don't think it's necessary. Like, I suppose us funding wars for other people is still making the money printer. We also bought a ton of bonds back twice. Anytime we buy bonds back, that puts more money supply into the market. So that is a way that money printer's happening. Wars can for too long, like you're saying, could lead to an end of a civilization, because they're essentially broken down and they become weak inside. And the same thing here. Like, we need to ensure that our country is together, right? Like, there's been a lot of animosity between people, and I'd love to see that end and people get back to an ability to come to agreements that try to better the country and not just hate people because of what they believe in, one side or the other. So I'm kind of rambling, not directly answering your question, but yeah. So money printer, it's needed for us to prepare for debt.
I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about that I forgot till I saw it in the notes that I made over here. But it's like, during the Ukrainian war, the West froze like Russia's access to the SWIFT payment system, and they also they froze the Russian central bank like reserves. So after that started happening, I don't know if you remember, but like a whole bunch of American companies were like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to provide these financial products to Russian companies." To like, I think there was a whole bunch of different, like Netflix, like Amazon, like whatever the heck, Western companies and Western monetary finance systems, they all basically turned the Russian war into an opportunity to like revoke Russia of financial access and things. So like, up until this point, like, no one had ever frozen access to other companies like central reserves and stuff. So that was pretty fucking crazy. That was a strange precedent to set. And then, like, just cutting them off of the SWIFT payment system. It's like the wars are turning, they're turning less and less kinetic, and they're turning more and more financial and economic and stuff. So when that starts happening, we're going to see like the prices of things rise and fall. Like the United States is in an economic war with China, has been for a super long time, and cultural war too.
Yeah.
So
I want to just actually, you mentioned that. I was actually just going to bring it up. One of the only ways that we can fight China is through an economic war.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw this week, and it's something that I had pulled up, but don't have it currently pulled up. What was China and the United States came to a trade deal? It's official.
Yeah.
So, we have some bad news in regards to like Israel, Iran, but then we have really good news from a trade aspect with China, which is obviously one of the biggest exporters. But nonetheless, it's still like, we have to be weary of China. We can't just give them everything monetarily that they want, because they are our biggest adversary, long term. And so we have to keep that in mind when we're making deals and we're making trade deals, and we need to weaken their economy. And there's only one way to do that, like you said, and it's through economics. But overall, I think that's good that they were able to come to a deal. I would love to see the United States and the EU come to a deal, but I think that's going to be a little bit more challenging. And we'll see what happens with the rest of the tariffs. We have been, I think, until July 9th, somewhere around there, for some more deals to get done. But I think there's only a few big countries that really need to get things done. And then the small ones, like, doesn't really matter as much, right? So it's kind of just like, okay, 10%, or we back off on some of them. Doesn't really matter. But get a China deal done, great. Maybe now we can focus on the EU and hope that we don't ruin our dollar by printing too much money.
Yeah. That's a very real possibility. And like, one of the things that was highlighted is that I know it's the BRICS nations especially, but they've been looking into more of the cryptocurrency alternatives to the big like central US dollar. They were like, yeah, we're gonna get off the dollar. we're starting the BRICS, the BRICS coalition, and I don't remember when that started happening, but like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, I believe, are the BRICS nations, and a whole bunch of other ones have joined it. But they're basically like, hey, we don't really want to use the dollar for global trade anymore, so we're doing our own little thing here, and we're gonna figure out our own little system and stuff out of that. But like, there's plenty of countries that are trying to get off the dollar standard. That was I want to say that was Saddam Hussein, as well as Muammar Gaddafi. That was their major crime, is that they wanted to like get their countries off of the dollar. I think Saddam Hussein wanted to trade oil using euros, and Muammar Gaddafi wanted to trade oil using the I think it was the lira, or whatever currency that they had over there. And then like what happened? The United States swooped in and took those leaders out by like empowering the rebels, or whatever you want to call it. Like, whether we were directly had our fingers in the pie, or if we like trained the guys who then did the stuff. Like, the fact of the matter is that like everybody who wanted to just, like, stop trading with the US dollar, they just magically start disappearing. So it'd be great if the US doesn't print the dollar into obsolescence. But like, on the flip side of the token, if they do start printing the hell out of dollars, then that makes the price of bitty coins go up, because like more dollars, but not quite as many more bitcoins and things. So all in all, like, it could have a whole bunch of effects, and then there's probably a whole bunch of unknown unknowns that like we're not even aware of. So I'm curious to see what happens. But in the meantime, I hope that too many people don't die, and like, people can settle their differences, and I'm not sure.
And look, we have a lot of political unrest within our own country, and that's something
Yeah.
that I feel like we need to focus on too. It's like,
Oh
got to
yeah.
figure out where to come to this like central point, because the political unrest and just the untruthfulness of everybody talking about any one thing is just crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
no one can even talk about something with truth and with integrity anymore. And that's really sad.
I think truth and integrity are gonna turn into a like a trade value. People are gonna stop paying attention. They're gonna stop paying for things with their attention to people that tell lies, and people that don't promote honest thought. Like, think about just how much Rogan has shot up over the last, like, however long he's been podcasting for. I want to say like 10 years plus or something. Like, he has people on the show, and he interviews them from a position of like humility and like interest in seeking like truth and stuff. And his brand and his reputation has gone way up. Same thing with like Chris Williams, and a whole bunch of other podcasters and folks that spread good information, as opposed to like sowing the seeds of like, black people versus white people, men versus women, immigrants versus like whatever the hot button topic is, of like, let's stir the pot between these red and these blue people, so that way we can drum up dissent and drum up anger and stuff. All the people that talk about like real things, and approach stuff from positions of humility and thoughtfulness. Like, I think that they end up getting more and more engagement. They end up getting more and more like grassroots support, and I think that that's going to be a big thing in the near future, especially with the advent of AI and the ability to make these videos and stuff. It's like people are going to yearn for, I think, genuine connection and honesty. And shout out to that book that we've covered twice now on the book club, the Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey. It's like truth is getting more and more scarce as we move further and further in time, it seems, at least in a lot of culture and media. So I think that the truth will maybe not necessarily win out in the end, but it'll just get more and more powerful. And it's one of those things, kind of like, the tree of liberty has to be refreshed periodically by the blood of patriots. It's like the tree of truth has to be, it has to be refreshed by the blood of honest journalists and people that dig and look for real things and have real conversations, and don't just like say the stuff that gets people to like, hop on the channel and click the like button and do all the crazy engagement things. So that's my thoughts on that. I think that your point about truth being important is well stated.
Yeah, look, I hope the pendulum swings back, right? Because right now it seems like people are drawn towards what people are telling them that they agree with, right? It's like they're drawn to other people that share their beliefs. And even if they're not being truthful, it seems like that doesn't always make a difference. But as we know, the pendulum swings. And once the pendulum swings too far in one direction, it starts to come back to another direction. Like look at when it comes to like church, there's a lot of young people that are going back to church. And their parents aren't, but they are. And so like with younger generations, we're starting to see a big shift also in their political views and spectrum compared to what maybe their parents are right now or the last generation was. So, it's very interesting when you look at the younger generations, and I think we're already starting to see the pendulum swing to an extent there. But, me, obviously, religion is a big part of my life, something I pay attention to, but it's, I love to see, kids and young people going back and finding purpose, because if you don't have a purpose, you have a really hard time being, making yourself useful, right? We talked about this with crypto, and like, you get rich, there's really purpose. Like if you don't have purpose, you're not going to be happy in your life. So, yeah.
I was actually like short little offshoot. I was talking about this to other dudes on the crew. Like we got like 7 or 8 people on the crew for stacking the tower stuff, and I was asking them all, like, would you continue doing towers and stuff if you didn't have to worry about money? Would you still like come out and hang out with the boys and go stack steel and go fly up, way high in the air? Like, would you still be doing this? And about half of them said, hell yeah. And the other half were like, fuck no, I'm only in it for the money. It's like, it was very interesting because there was a very different vibe between the people who were in it for the money and the people who were in it because they loved it and because like that was the thing that they did. That's like where all their their family was, all the people that they know, all the guys that they've all like survived, like 30 years into industry without like dying, falling off, or being a part of like a crazy accident or something. Like there's a lot of folks that have like really good camaraderie, and there's a lot of folks that are just like, yeah, I'm here until the money problem is solved, and then I'm going on to do other things. So like we definitely talk about purpose here on the podcast a lot, and it's like I think that we should. This is a conversation that folks would benefit from having, with a lot of people in life. Is like, hey, figure out what your purpose is, find out what you're good at, like see what kind of problems you can solve, and go out there and take care of business and stuff. So I absolutely agree, man. And if purpose is in the church, then hell yeah. Like that's awesome. And I think that the more people that go into church, the more people have good, strong moral and ethical foundations, like the better, So I'm right there with you, dude. I think that'd be awesome. So we've covered most of the things that we wanted to talk about. We talked about the macro, we talked about the regional war, we've covered CPI, the Ethereum strategic reserve. Some of the other things I see that oh yeah, you've already done the CPI. Is there anything else that's on your mind, broski?
I just want people to, I'll just kind of roll back to what I said to start the show. It's like, a lot of people that watch us are in the Richard Heart ecosystem, and I think a lot of people believe, and seeing a community where their tokens have gone down so much, and yet the vast majority of the community has so much hope, so much belief long term. It's a beautiful thing. Recently, we have started to see some people around the edges start to crack. Maybe not regular people within the ecosystem, but we're starting to see some definitely some negativity and personal attacks from people against Richard Heart about the coins, which is fine. Okay, if you don't like the coins, no problem. There are plenty of other places that you can invest your money in. Even if you're down, feel free to sell and go invest somewhere else where you're happier. Because if this isn't making you happy and you don't think you're going to make any money and you don't trust anymore, then it's okay to change your plan and sell and go somewhere else. So I strongly believe, I'm excited. And, Richard's been very active on Twitter. I have a theory that, last week we talked about the 2 months thing, right? That was in that long tweet. He was look, I think 2 months, things look different. I've asked a question. What if 2 months means that's about when the Interpol notice will be wrapped up? What if something's being worked on behind the scenes that will completely change his ability to maybe stream again,
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the charts bumping up in 2 months, but maybe there's a big net, one more big thing that's going to drop. And if the Interpol thing gets cleared up, wow, I think that would be huge news. And then if it comes back to stream again, I mean, all bets are off. That would be incredible.
It would be super cool. The best the best marketer in the space, if you ask me. Like it.
Well, he's also very smart, right? And
Yeah.
he's very charismatic. So when he streams, people watch, people listen, and people get excited. And I'd love to see it again. I do think he'll stream again, and hopefully this Interpol notice gets cleared up. And if I'm right, I haven't heard anyone else say that's maybe the thing. So I do believe I'm the first one that has mentioned that maybe that's the possibility. Granted, it's just a guess, just a thought. It's just, hey, this is something to think about. Nobody really knows, and we shall see. But yeah, stay strong out there, people. The market's looking good, and it looks like we have a long way to run yet this cycle.
Well, cool beans. I like it. There's one thing that or two things that I wanted to mention. I guess three things. They're all just super quick little headlines that I saw while scrolling through the crypto news earlier. So Paraguay Twitter was like, we're gonna make Bitcoin a legal tender, and then like shortly thereafter, they're like, yeah, sorry guys, our account got hacked. Oopsie daisy, whatever the hell. So that was kind of fun. We've also had the SEC chair Paul Atkins say that they're working on a policy to exempt DeFi platforms from like regulatory barriers and things. So that's really good news for everyone in the Ethereum and space like that. And there's also a cool thing going on Cardano. I know you like Cardano, but they've put out the Cardinals, which is one of the first like Bitcoin something or others on the Cardano network. So I think that what is it called? Cardinal is the first Bitcoin DeFi protocol on Cardano. So that was pretty cool. Charles Hoskinson was talking about that, and I think that was earlier on Tuesday. But yeah, there's been some cool stuff happening in the news.
Charles also suggested that the Cardano Foundation buy Bitcoin and some stable coins, and then yield and buy ADA back with that yield. I was like, oh, interesting. He's really trying to integrate Bitcoin. He wants people that hold Bitcoin to get integrated into Cardano, and you'll be able to sort of allow Bitcoin to run some protocols with the Cardano ecosystem. So he's definitely trying to extend the olive branch there.
Yeah. And I think that's really respectable. Like I got a lot of respect for Charles for like extending the olive branch to the Bitcoiners and trying to give them things that they might like on the Cardano network. Because like Cardano, like for all the fun that I make of Cardano, it is like they're good people and they do good things. So like I like that that's something that they're thinking about is extending the olive branch and building things that other people like, because that's how you get people into the chain, is you do the things that they like. So if making things for Bitcoiners on the Cardano network brings Bitcoiners into Cardano and gets them start using DeFi and gets them start like being more powerful and more sovereign, then I think that's I think that's pretty fucking awesome. So shout out to everyone over there.
So so just to further what you were talking about, right? That this Cardinal thing, essentially what it allows you to do is wrap Bitcoin and then yield with it, right? So you wrap your Bitcoin, bring it over to Cardano, and then you can use it for DeFi things, yield and other types of things. So providing people an opportunity to yield with Bitcoin in a decentralized financial platform, I think that's pretty cool. And honestly, I haven't looked into it that much yet, because it was sort of just announced this week. But I do want to dig into that a little bit more and learn a little bit more about it.
Yep.
At least it's interesting.
Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and do one final round of the chat shoutouts, and then we will do a final Shrimp Tech giveaway. So it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for some motherfucking chat shoutouts. We're going to shout out the folks who have joined us since we did our first round of chat shoutouts. So I want to say hello to Mr. Funkmaster Hex. We gave you a little bit of a tilt and a nod there earlier, but shout out to Mr. Funkmaster Hex, the Trailer Park Boys Julian of the Hexaco and Pulse Chain Space. So good to see you, good sir. you get a tap from my coffee mug, and then I will drink this as soon as the chat shoutouts is over. Next up, we're also joined by Mr. Russ. Pretty soon, you're talking about real money. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna have some real money floating around. Real being, I presume, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Pulse Chain, things
We
of
were
that
talking
nature.
about the Ethereum strategic reserve when he
Ah,
wrote
that's
that.
right. Yes. So real fucking. So like they've got a $500 million in there. So that's pretty close to real money. So once they start hitting that billion number, then that's when we start being real impressed. We've also been joined by Mr. Paul Sachs. We showed this one early, but shout out to you, Paul Sachs. If ballistic missiles make Bitcoin price hold, will a tactical nuke make it go up? I hope we don't have to find out that one, good sir. But it's good to see you. And then we're also joined by Mr. Fast Abdul, who reminds us that he is only here for the tech. Absolutely good, sir. He is here for the tech, and we're glad to see you. So
And
shout out
he's
to Fast
building, great tech on Pulse Chain. So shout out to Fast Abdul. Doing a lot of great things, and he's a lot of his hands in a lot of different places, and he's a hard worker and always around different chats and always supporting, and we appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. We freaking love you, Mr. Fast Abdul. And now it's time to do one final round of the stream giveaways. So we're going to give away some more stickers. So I'm going to pull up my share screen over here. Our last winner was Mr. Slide 180. So I'm going to go ahead and click that draw again button. Here we go. And because it's my good friend John, we're going to... What's that? Oh! Winning again! Good to see you, Mr. Hex Glenn. Welcome. Step right on up. I'm going to put some more stickers in your envelope, and then I will send that on over to you once I get an address. Or if I see you in real life, then I can hand it to you there. So whatever works for you, good sir. Glad to see that Mr. Hex Glenn is winning again. So shout out to everyone. Make sure that if you guys did win this and you do want me to mail you some stickers, then go to t.me/Will Stevenson with the W and the S capitalized and send me a DM, and then we'll work out where to go from there. So that's the next step if you guys have won or if you guys have done anything cool in that nature. So there you guys go. Mr. Brendan, good sir. Where can the folks find you, and what are some things that you've got going on in the near future, my friend?
Well, they can find me on X at anonymous_bean. They can find me in the Telegram, where we are always chatting away, and we are, sometimes having daily streams, and you get a lot of information first. Some of the information that we talk about here, we bring to people's attention in the chat. As I mentioned, in the next few weeks, we'll have some guests on the stream on one of our Whiskey Wednesdays. Or I should say on one of our Wednesday streams, we'll have some guests regarding some new Solana protocols that are coming out. And I know that we may not everybody here may be messing around in Solana, but I think it's super cool. And there's some big people backing these coins. So I think that there'll be good opportunities. Plus, we'll be the first one to interview them. So our community will be one of the first ones to hear about it, which is also cool. Other than that, my friend, just working. That's it.
Absolutely. Excellent. All right. So yeah, you guys can find him at the anonymous_bean. So, and cool interviews coming soon. For the folks at home who don't know where you guys can find me, all of my socials can be found at will.pls.fyi. So reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram. I don't know. There's probably other ones over there, but go check it out. If you want to get into contact with me, that's the best way to do it. will.pls.fyi. So there we go for that. That's where you can find me as far as stuff going on the Degen Roundtable. Like Brendan said, we've got some cool things going on in the near future. For those of you who were with us during book club, I made the announcement that this coming Friday, what I'm going to be doing for book club is, instead of covering a book, is I'm going to be teaching you guys the fundamentals of rifle marksmanship. We're starting off with rifle. So I'm going to run you guys through the exact same Marine Corps slides and PowerPoint presentation that I got while I was a fancy schmancy little Marine, and I used to teach other people how to do shooting and stuff. So I'm going to teach you guys how to be good marksmen and how to be good rifle stuff. So you'll get the online version of the in-person experience. And then this is something that I want to do more of in the future, is I want to teach people how to shoot. So me running through the process and running through all the information here live will be pretty cool. So tell your friends, tell your family that that's what we're doing for book club. Is we're going through PowerPoint books on how to shoot better and do stuff. And there's some other cool like Marine Corps stuff that I've got. So this is from my assault climbers course. So we might cover this book at some point where it teaches you like how to tie knots and how to do other cool things. So we might do some fun and awesome educational stuff here on the DGen Roundtable Book Club, and who knows, maybe the Marine Corps will come after me for sharing our super duper fancy schmancy educational content that is totally out of date. But yeah, shout out to everyone there, part of the book club. So for you guys who have never been to the DGen Roundtable before, as you can see here right behind me, youtube.com/@DGen Roundtable. If you guys are watching us on Twitter or on YouTube, this is the best place to find us. We are live every 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, where we talk to guests, on Friday, where we do book club, and on Sunday, where we cover the news. So you guys can catch us here each one of those days.
I would say news, market analysis, and any other, crypto important topics.
I did put news because it was a single word and I wanted it to be small. So yes, you're absolutely right. Crypto, macro, other such things, but that's the general substance is like a wrap up of what's going on over the week. So you guys can, and probably friendship and hangouts too. So it's a good time. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Mr. Brendan. And that's what's going on with me. That's what's going on with the DGen Roundtable. If you guys are not part of the DGen Roundtable Telegram community, and you want to go talk memes, or you want to go share funny stories, or you want to talk about girls, or you want to talk about how to improve your fitness, or anything of that nature, we've even got a video game thing in there, or sports, then what you need to do is you need to hop on over to the DGen Roundtable Telegram at t.me/DRT join now. That is Delta Romeo Tango join now. t.me/DRT join now is how you get in there. You can either click on that link that I have dropped in the live comments, or you can scan the QR code at the bottom right hand corner of the screen down there by Mr. Brendan's lower right shoulder there, his camera right. So there you go. You can get into the DGen Roundtable Telegram that way, or you can just continue watching us here on YouTube or Twitter. We appreciate you guys hanging out and spending some time here with us. As a matter of fact, I want to thank all of you for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you spending that asset right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, which is me, go ahead and get that trigger figure ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly. Oh shit, I moved the mouse. Damn it!